This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, fill your card up with all their amazing comics. Use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. Save you 10% at checkout. Not only on their website, but also at their eBay account. And the link to eBay can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Again, CarterComics.com is your one-stop shop for all comic needs.
What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And welcome to another episode of this freaking show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. And this morning is a struggle between my hair constantly falling in my face and I have a weird smell of like syrup. And I'm not quite sure what it is. Like it was a late night. I could not fall asleep. It was a rough go of it this morning. And I was like, I don't want to roll out of bed. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I could audio podcast this from my bed. I was like, now I gotta get up because we gotta do the video. We got a video podcast this thing. And I threw a shirt on, and I was like, all of a sudden I started smelling like what smells like syrup. Like, it's like I know I haven't had like pancakes in like quite a bit, but
right,
syrup exists. I smell syrup somewhere. Not quite sure what it is. I don't know if it's syrup or.
Have you had a McGriddle recently?
That sounds good too, though.
Doesn't it? I love a McGriddle.
They always sound good. Yeah, you ever? When I get McGriddles, I only get sausage McGriddles because I can't do the egg, bacon, and cheese on it.
I do sausage usually. Every once in a while, I do a sausage, egg, and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But it is weird. That it is the egg that they have is like not right on a McGriddle.
Well,
it's overcooked.
It's that folded egg.
Yeah.
And see, back in the day, when I used to do it, because I'm 35 now and I can say things like that. Back in my day, it used to be liquid egg that you would pour out onto the griddle, and you pour it into like it was like a long rectangular form. You let it cook and then you kind of flip it.
Yeah.
Now they come pre-made, to the shops, and all they do is just throw it on the grill, put a lid over it, pour some water on it, and steam it, back to what it's based. So it is different. It's the same egg that, they put on like the steak, egg, and cheese or the bagel sandwiches.
Yep, it sure is.
But
it's fine on that because the texture isn't. It's disguised by the bagel. You know?
Well, and the breakfast sauce, and there's enough going on where it's like, okay, it gives you a hint of egg.
Right.
But is all your ordering through the app?
No, almost none of it.
So you go through drive-through and request, ask for a round egg. It's a real egg.
That's a great idea. It never even occurred to me to ask for a round egg. Yeah,
and not only that, you're putting a round egg on a round McGriddle.
Which makes sense.
Right. So just go through like, can I get a, sausage, egg, and cheese, or an egg and cheese McGriddle with a round egg instead of a flat egg or folded egg?
Yeah.
They'll do it. They gotta do it. It's McDonald's. They accommodate. Yeah, but I don't know. Like in my mind, I have this weird, like the whole like sweet and savory thing. Like there's certain things that I can't put together, and things that I'm okay putting together, like trail mix, peanuts and M&Ms. That's fine. Sweet, sweet and savory. That works for me. I could do the sausage on the McGriddle because in my mind the sausage is sweeter.
Interesting.
I could only like do it on the McGriddle. Like I do not like the sausage McMuffin because to me, I guess mentally I associate the sausage with sweet, and now the sausage goes only to the McGriddle. I once ordered, I think I talked about this on the show, but it's been 3 years if I have. I went through a drive-thru and I swore I ordered a steak, egg, and cheese bagel for my drive home after working out at Sicko. Those like 12-hour shifts. And I know I ordered a steak, egg, and cheese bagel. I ended up getting like a sausage, egg, and cheese bagel, and it was the worst tasting thing I've ever had in my life. Like it was,
Huh.
I don't know what it was, but it was absolutely horrible. Like I threw half of it out the window. Well, actually, I think I took like 2 bites of it because I bit into it once. I'm like, what the heck was that? But like the breakfast sauce, because you always gotta get extra breakfast sauce or bagel sauce,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it. Kind of massive. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And I bit into it again. I'm like, oh, that's gross. And I opened it up, looked at it, like, sucks, threw it out the window. Like birds could have it. That's disgusting. I had it, and this was like this was the McDonald's up in Lamont. So I did the McDonald's out in Peatone, and they did it right. So they got it right. So kudos to Peatone, kudos to small towns who give a crap.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like when it comes to like sweet and savory stuff, I can't. There's certain things I can't mix. I think that's why I can't do ketchup on a hot dog because in my mind, ketchup is now sweet.
Ketchup is very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like when I have fries, I have them I have barbecue sauce.
Oh,
I have
interesting.
ranch. Yeah, I don't think I can't even recall the last time I had ketchup with fries. Because to me, ketchup is like a sweet thing, and I
That's
honestly,
really interesting. That's what I
unless
like about it. I like the sweetness with my frise.
yeah, you like
But I'm a
the
sweet savory guy. I like sweet and savory
yeah
together a lot.
yeah. Were you the one that I think you're one of them? You're one of them. That put the fries into the frosty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
I don't get it. Like I said, like I never have a problem with sweet and savory to like an extent, but there are certain times where I'm like I cannot mix this sweet taste with this savory
I
taste. It just for
I
me,
was
it just doesn't work.
actually we were talking in one of my group chats this week about how one of my friends just does not have a sweet tooth. You know,
Mhm.
after dinner, instead of if he has a choice between like potato chips as a treat, ice
Yeah.
cream as a treat, or cookies as a treat, he's gonna have potato chips every time. And his wife recently bought him salt and vinegar almonds,
Okay.
and I'm like, that sounds awesome because like I think almonds are really sweet, and vinegar, you know, salt and vinegar goes
I,
really well with
I
that. I think
love
it's
salt and vinegar, 100%.
gonna be
Yeah.
delicious, right? But then I started thinking, like, what if I had salt and vinegar chips and you made them a little bit thicker and fried them till they were a little bit crispier, and then you put them in like a vanilla ice cream? I think that'd be really
Oh.
good. I would really like that. A salt and vinegar vanilla ice cream.
So I like,
Hmm.
so like I could do like like salted caramel. I could do salted fudge, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when it has like the thick chunks of salt on top of it as a decorator.
Yeah. Well, it brings out the flavors and cuts the bitterness, so it actually
Yes,
makes it sweeter.
yeah. The vinegar part would be the thing that kind of throws you off when it comes to like ice cream.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally fair. Totally fair.
yeah. I mean, it's I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to do a video for Freaknet where we try unique, odd, and weird things. I mean, for me, there's I think a lot of options out there coming from your family, from what I've seen you guys do to certain foods, and just like, oh yeah, no, we used to have this Easter Sunday when I was 7 years old, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Jelly on my eggs.
yeah,
Uh,
that's the thing too. And again, it's sweet and savory, like that's a wild concept, and I love sweets. I think one of my biggest downfalls and
oh,
and weight
same.
loss, dieting, calorie count, also is like it's hard for me to sit there and think like, what do I want to have for dinner? And then obviously the laziness of not making dinner myself, having to grab food on the way home, and sitting there thinking to myself like, where can I go where I can also get a dessert with it?
Yeah.
And I know like and there's videos out there where they talk about like, well, if you have a craving for sweets, it's because you don't get enough protein. Or if you have a craving for sweets, it's because your blood, your glucose level, whatever. And there's all these different, things like.
I'm sure there's a reason that's scientific like that, but I also just like if I have if I have a steak dinner,
Mm-hmm.
you better believe I want a piece of cheesecake at the end of that.
Yes.
You know, and there's so much protein in a steak dinner, especially since I'm getting it with like a side of broccoli, which has a
Yep.
lot of protein in it. I'm getting it with a baked potato, which has a good amount of protein in it. Especially once I load it up with butter and sour cream,
Mm-hmm.
and lots of fats there to satiate it too. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense on like, but like when it comes to like I said, like if I order lunch, if I order dinner, which is something I said in 2025 I'm going to stop doing, and clearly I haven't. There's always like, where do I want to order from? And the first thing I go to is I go to the dessert area. Like, what kind of sweet treat can I get with? Jimmy John's started toasting their subs, and I love a toasted sub. I will, I wouldn't go through with it, but if somebody was to say, "Hey, beat up that old man, and I'll give you a toasted sub," I'd be like, "That's
It'd be hard
just crazy."
to think about it.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, nah, that's not worth it. But
What the old man do?
Yeah, there'll be a moment where I'm like, I can't do that. That's insane. But at the same time, I'd be like, man, I do love a toasted sub, especially an Italian toasted sub. I'm like, come on now.
I gotta try that. So I tried a toasted sub from Jimmy John's, but I did it with a Jimmy John's tuna sandwich.
Okay, so you went with you ordered a favorite and toasted it. You didn't order one of their 3 toasted subs.
Correct. So it's Lent. It was a Friday.
Yeah.
I decided I wanted to do no meat Fridays. So far I'm only successful for 2 out of 3 Fridays, but that's okay.
Hey, 66%, bro.
Yeah, just trying. It'll go up next week too.
2/3 vote. Whatever the hell that.
Yeah. So, but the very first Friday of Lent, I'm like, it's Lent. I'm gonna have a tuna sandwich. What I hoped they would do is I ordered it with the wheat bread, and I thought, a toasted wheat bread that'd be choice. I'd really like that. And then of course they can't toast the wheat bread because it's not the process that they want. So they put it on. And so I have this like ridiculously hard and difficult to chew French bread with this tuna that is just squishing out of it. And it's not the best tuna salad sandwich in the world to begin with. And then they put the provolone cheese on there and they burned it till it was rubber. It was one of the worst sandwiches I've ever had. But I'll try a toasted Italian. I'm willing to give anything 2 chances.
So the thing, because again, I'm fucking fat. I know I am. I trial and error shit and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And the one thing I know from my experience of eating toasted foods is you gotta limit or even eliminate as much liquids as possible.
Yeah.
Like oil and vinegar or the oils and stuff that they put on there. So like when I ordered like the Italian sub or the East Coast, and because they do have a toasted Italian on there, but the problem is like they add bacon to it, and it's like I don't need bacon on it. Like now you're just trying to add shit. Like I don't need it, Just give me the East Coast Italian, or just give me the Italian nightclub. And you can't account for it. You just gotta have faith that the people there know what they're doing. But like I always get extra peppers, and I always get little to no oil, because there are times where people that the kids there, the ones who don't give a shit about their job, will just sit there and scoop the peppers onto the sandwich and not drain the oil off of it. So you're already going to have that oily component from the peppers. Mm-hmm. And once you start playing on the oil vinegar side of it, well, now you're just doubling down on all that liquid. And because you're toasting the bread, you're kind of closing off those pores in a sense. So it's not absorbing into the bread anymore. So it just kind of sits there. So as you sit there and bite it starts raining down your shirt, it starts raining down onto the paper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
this is good. This is good information, because I would have made that error.
Yeah, listen. There's part of me that wishes I didn't know this much crap about food. Yeah. But it's like, if you want to enjoy like the best parts of food, this is what you got to do. You got to try and error stuff. And I know even with Jimmy John's, it's like even the non-toasted side of it. If they, it's the same thing. If I get extra peppers, I get little to no oil, because I know there's going to be somebody in there who doesn't give a crap about their job, who just kind of scoops that crap on there. I mean, when I used to go to Subway, which I haven't in a while because the prices are ridiculous, because I can't justify spending $15 on a foot-long sub, and I sit there and I ask them, like, oh, can I get, extra giardiniera on my steak and my steak and cheese? And, they scoop it on there, but then the oils are there. I'm just like, you guys, you got to get the oil off of the sandwich, because it's just going to make it runny. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
If you go, I recommend, and if I had to base what I think you would like off what your dad eats, I would go with the beef and cheddar toasted because it has horseradish on it.
Ooh, I do like horseradish.
And it's good. And you don't. That's one of the what's one
Jimmy
of the
John's has a horseradish spread?
They do now because of that toasted beef sandwich. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I think it's actually a free add-on now too. So if you wanted to get like, I think it's like the Hunter, where it's just basically like a half pound of roast beef. I think you get the horseradish on there. But I grew up loving Arby's, so having a warm roast beef sandwich is always delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get their beef and cheddar toasted, it has horseradish on there, and the horseradish is delicious. The only thing you gotta do is they put mayo on it as well. You just remove the mayo. You don't need it on there if you have the horseradish. I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think when I ordered it, I was like, I don't need to change anything. But I always look at the customization because what could I add? What can I take away? And when it comes to roast beef and stuff, I think I extra'd the horseradish just to make sure that there's some on there. I removed the mayo because I didn't need it because I had the extra horseradish. And then they put lettuce, tomato on it. I had onion. But I'm one of those guys that people will look at like one of those guys who turns their sandwiches into salads. It's like 100% because that's number two is like it's trying to get more volume for your buck.
Absolutely.
But in a healthy way. Like, yeah, I mean, like if I don't get the toppings that you have to pay for, like double meat, extra cheese, guacamole or avocado spread, like stuff like that. Like, I go for the freebie stuff. Like if there's like a day, and I was trying to do this before, where I was like, I'm only going to order lunch on payday Fridays. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I'll order a Jimmy John's, but I'll get like extra lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, stuff like that, because it's veggies, it's extra, and it doesn't cost anything, but it gets it more filling. The only problem with that, it does kind of take away from the meat and all the other stuff that that sandwich is kind of made of.
Sure.
But I love that Jimmy John's has toasted. It kind of brings me back to Quiznos.
I miss Quiznos.
I do too. And I know there is a Quiznos like within like 50 miles of us. So I mean I think there's two of them still actually. I think there's one up by you, and then there's one out in Indiana. So they still exist. I kept trying to get with Colin. I'm like, hey guy, let's go road trip to it, or field trip it. Let's pretend we're a kid, we're in elementary school again, and we'll take a field trip to a Quiznos, and we'll go because when he was in the Navy, he lived off Quiznos and Red Bull, and that's all he ever talked about. I'm like,
nuts, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I loved Quiznos. There used to be one right down the road from the refinery I used to work at religiously when I was an inspector, and that and Taco Burrito King right next door were my two options. And listen, I think between Potbellies and their toasted subs,
I'm glad they still exist. I didn't know. I honestly thought Quiznos had died.
I think a lot of people do. I think I think unless you live in the area of that Quiznos, you don't even know it really exists until like one day you just kind of Google it. It's kind of like with a Ball's energy drink. The perception, because Colin loves those, and they were my favorite energy drink for a time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think they're it sucks that they're not around anymore. I was like, I'm pretty sure they are. And he looked at me, they're still around. They're just not around here. Because the thing is, and it's based on region, based on location and stuff like that. If people aren't buying it, they're not going to distribute to that area.
Right.
That's why it bugs me that Big Red Soda isn't around here.
Mm-hmm.
It pops up from time to time. I went into a Speedway in my town, and I just happened to see it. And I was like, holy crap, it exists here. And they're like, oh, yeah, we just started giving them. I'm like, awesome. Keep stocking it because I'm going to keep buying it.
Yeah.
And then they stopped stocking it because I was the only one buying it. Mm. It's like, I'm like, it's a delicious cream soda. Like, how do people not like cream soda? And yeah, so it's like
Barks.
Yeah, and I can't order it online because if I try to order it online, it's like $30 for a 6-pack. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I love it, but I don't love it that much.
Yeah, I just found Amazon has a 24-pack for $26.98.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not.
That's right.
I love Big Red, but I'm not spending $2 and something cents on a per can of. I can't do that. That's
totally fair. Totally.
Yeah,
fair.
I mean, especially when like Big Red is in like the level of like the 2 for $3 or 2 for $5.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a trash soda in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's definitely like in that 7-Up, Sunkiss, like A&W root beer like level.
I'm trying to remember what I discovered recently. So Big Red is a Dr. Pepper brand.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah,
There was another Dr. Pepper brand that I was talking about recently that I didn't know was a Dr. Pepper brand until, like this week. I wish I could remember what it was.
7-Up.
No, it wasn't 7-Up. It was something way out of. Oh, it was Royal RC Cola. RC Cola got brought out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was I don't remember what was going on. Someone was talking about hot dogs being a reason to like not kill yourself, and I was like, damn right. Damn right. Get yourself 2 Chicago dogs, some fries, and a Royal Crown soda. And live another day.
List of Keurig Dr. Pepper brands.
It's honestly, I mean, it's a great way. Like, you get yourself 2 Chicago dogs, fries, and an RC Cola. You're taking time off the end of your life.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
you know, you want your, you know, it's like if you're, this is great. Maybe this is a good segue into self-love. If you're really hating yourself and you feel like maybe you'd like to die, don't kill yourself today. Kill yourself in the future by having yourself 2 Chicago dogs, fries, and a Royal Crown soda.
Oh god. When was the last time you had a Coney dog?
Oh my god, it's been when we were in Detroit.
Right. Ah, man.
Yeah, dude, so like 6 months ago.
Yeah. So that's saying, okay. It's there are healthier options in the world, but yeah, like I said, if you're just miserable, yeah, go get a hot dog. Because the thing is, you don't want to know what's in it, but you're still gonna eat it. You know? And you know what's in it? Yeah.
Joy.
Yeah. And if you're just like, I'm done, like you don't have to worry about spending money on the all beef franks and shit. Just get the turkey, rib pork, whatever,
Yeah.
Oh, and as a side note, because we can't get into self-love from that point, but if you own a hot dog stand and I walk in there and say, can I get a Chicago style hot dog? And you ask me what I want on it, stop serving hot dogs.
Yeah. If you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Especially if you're anywhere within 100 miles of Chicago.
Yeah.
If you're at 101 miles from Chicago, I totally understand you don't know what that is.
Yeah. It was up north. It was when I was working. This is years ago. And I walked into a hot dog stand because hot dogs are fucking good. I love hot dogs. It's obviously,
I haven't had one in a minute, and I'm thinking about maybe this week I'll have one.
I was thinking about the military diet again, trying it out and everything. And when I was thinking about what hot dogs I wanted to get, I was thinking Hebrew National, because no matter what,
they answer to a higher authority.
Oh, Hebrew Nationals are my all-time favorite
so
hot
good.
dog. That and then Nathan's is number 2. But
nice.
God, you can't.
Those are the two. Whenever we have cookouts at the church, I always buy the hot dogs because then I know I'm getting either a Nathan's or a Hebrew National. I very rarely go anything lesser quality.
No, it's nothing. I got nothing against Ballpark Franks, but I'm an adult now, and I'm not microwaving my hot dogs anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, the plump when you cook them, yeah, that's great for like a teenager who doesn't want to like make up dishes, who's just a little hungry, who goes into the fridge, pulls out one of those Ballpark Franks, rolls it up in a paper towel, throws it in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds, pulls it out, and then just fucking gnaws at it and moves on with your life. Good for you. I'm 35 years old. I'm not Ballpark Franking it unless I'm at a child's birthday party. And I'm like, that kid's going to grow up depressed as fuck because they are eating a Ballpark Frank and they have no idea what a Nathan's or a Hebrew National is.
Yeah. Now, Ballpark, they do have a decent pre-cooked brat if you're wanting to save yourself some time because you're doing a cookout at the church and like it takes forever to get the grill hot and then cook raw brats like a Johnsonville brat.
And the thing, like I said, I'm not saying Ballpark as an overall brand is disgusting.
No,
Ballpark has some decent beef franks and stuff like that too. It's those rib chicken, pork beef, artichoke, whatever crap things that they sell off as like, hey, buy a 10-pack, for your 8-pack buns. Like,
sidebar, Ballpark, if you'd like us to change our tune, send us some. We'll try them on camera. Yeah. And we'll see if that changes our mind.
Send us a pack.
No promises. No promises.
Send us a pack of every single one of your varieties, and we'll try them all and rank them.
Yep, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll do it.
I have no problem doing that for you. I have no problem doing that for everyone.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Nathan's in Hebrew National. If you'd like to join the competition, we'll put you all together. I don't care.
Can we blind taste test like different brands of hot dogs?
I'm in.
Right.
I think I can identify brands of hot dogs by taste.
Here's the thing. I think I should be able to identify a Hebrew National, but if we did like 5 or so all beef hot dogs, I wonder how challenging that would be.
Yeah.
Like we'd have to blind taste test them because if I could look at it, I could probably obviously tell.
You could look at it, you could absolutely tell. They
like,
all are very distinct.
Yeah, but I want
like a Vienna Red Hot, it's kind of red.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh that snap when you bite into it. That Detroit dog. Dude. I'm glad you brought that Detroit dog up because I don't remember really the snap into it, the chili, the onion, the mustard.
Dog and Suds, where I used to work, just opened again. They closed for the winter. They open again in February, late February. And when they open, they have a hot dog sale for it's like, I think the normal price of a hot dog there is like $1.50. They do like 2 for $1 or 79 cents for 1 for the first week that they're open.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome. And I always think is this the year I'm going to drive down and get myself? Am I going to go participate in that? And I haven't yet, but it's always tempting.
Yeah,
I miss it. They were good hot dogs. I think it might be my favorite job I ever had. Weirdly enough.
I don't know if I could ever work at a hot dog stand. I'd probably just keep eating the hot dogs.
Oh, you get sick of them.
I don't know if I could.
I did. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you couldn't, but I did.
We'll do that. Maybe opening day next year.Maybe we'll vlog a trip down there or something. We'll do some hot dogs and stuff. Self-love. I talked about this. I talked about talking about last show, and I talked a little bit last night with a friend of mine, MW Gaming, girl I was telling you about who was doing the streaming.
Oh yeah.
So, I was laying in bed and I was just messaging with her. She just finished one of her streams, and we are just BSing. How'd the stream go? Hey, you want to hang out in city tomorrow? Blah blah blah. It's RP stuff. And she asked me what I was doing. I was like, well, I'm laying in bed. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I was dog tired. It was an exhausting day, and I was ready to go to bed. And I was telling her, I was like, well, I'm trying to think of a topic that we can talk about with the show tomorrow. And I know we're going to talk about self-love. And she asked me what I meant about self-love, and I was like, well, I mean, the simple concept of it is I know that I feel that I don't love myself enough to push myself to change.
Yeah.
And I also told her yeah, you gotta listen to the show to understand what I mean. And she's like, she just said okay. And I started the thing is because I don't want her to have the impression, I don't want anyone to have the impression that when I'm talking about self-love, I'm talking about I hate myself to the point I don't want to be around anymore. And that's not the case. That's not what I mean by self-love. When I refer to myself as lacking self-love or lacking the ability to love myself, I could sit there and I could talk to somebody about their weight loss problems. I could sit there and I could talk to people about their relationship problems. And I could talk them through things. I could help them out with things. I could say, hey, listen, this is what I learned, try this or do this, or, this is what I experienced in my relationships, try this and do this and all that stuff. But the problem is I can't relay that own information to me. Through all these years of you and I
feel the exact same way about myself, but go on. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah. It's when I sit here and I think about all these years, because it's not like it's only been a few months. It's been years and years that we sit on the show, and I always talk about how I need to change this, I need to do this, I need to work on this, I want to try this, and all this other stuff. And I do it for a brief period of time, and then all of a sudden, it just stops, and I fall back into bad habits. And I sit there and I beat myself up about it. I was like, well, you said you weren't going to do it, and you do it. You said you weren't going to order food in 2025, and you ordered food. You try to justify it by saying I'm only going to order on payday Fridays, and now you're ordering on Tuesdays. It's you say you're going to prep your own lunches and bring your own lunches to work, and you're not doing that. You say you're going to go for walks, you're not doing that. You're going to do anything to motivate. You're going to do DDP yoga. in the morning, you can't get up and do it. You're going to do DDP yoga in the evenings. You're not doing that. And the thing is, like, it's not that like I don't have the time to do it. It's not like I don't have, the ability to do this stuff. It's finding that moment to sit there and say, do I love myself enough to make myself better now so I am here for the long run?
Right.
And the answer should always be yes. Like you should always have the feeling of I should love myself enough to change, to be better, and to be here for the long run. Whether it be just for nieces and nephews or maybe even kids of my own one day.
Right.
But for some reason,
that is something I think about a lot. Like we're hoping to start trying in like a year, and I'll be turning 36, and I'm, I get winded walking up the stairs, and like on the one hand, it's like, well, whenever the clock starts, I got 9 months, but
I had it was just yesterday. I was at work and the administrator up front, like we had a supply delivery to the office, and she walks back and says, "Oh, I have this box of paper. It needs to go back to the printer." And I was like, "Okay," and she was asking me for help, and I was like, the regret was I didn't want to do it because carrying it's the big box of reams of paper and everything. I'm like, this is gonna suck because to me it's to a normal person it's just like 25 feet or whatever, maybe 30 feet. It wasn't that far. But to somebody who's severely overweight, who has trouble breathing, who's lazy as hell, it's like this is gonna be quite, and I can't look like a bitch doing it. So I'm carrying this box, struggling the hell of it, having trouble breathing, walking, butthole clenched like I'm in prison. Like I feel like my back's gonna go out. I'm gonna fall over. Like this is stupid. And I've carried these boxes before. I never struggled this much. And I'm seeing like, and I put the box down. I get back to my desk. I hit my inhaler because it's like definitely the breathing is real. And I'm sitting to myself, I'm like, what the hell did I do to myself to where I'm here now?
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at that scale and I think to myself, like, okay, here's my starting weight, January, first week of January. If I lose anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds, I should be here by my birthday and all this other stuff. And instead of watching the number going down, I'm watching the number go up.
Yep.
And then for a few days, I commit to it and I see it drop down. Then the following week, I weigh myself every Wednesday morning. Come Monday, come Tuesday, I stuff my face with garbage. That number goes back up. And then Thursday, Friday, I'm just like, screw it. Let's try it. Let's do it. Over the weekend, I sporadically just eat crap. Monday, Tuesday, I stuff my face. Number goes up. And I'm sitting and I keep looking at myself like Travis, you can change.
Yeah.
And I know I'm capable of doing it because I still to this day, it's what, March 22nd. I'm almost to the point now where I'm 2 months shy of smoke free for a year.
Yeah.
I was able to quit smoking. It's like what is wrong to where if I could do that, why can't I stop ordering Grubhub? Why can't I stop, going to McDonald's on my way to or from work or Dunkin' or Culver's or whatever the hell it is? Like, it's like there's the ability to have weight loss, to do the weight loss concept of watching where you eat, fasting, and stuff like that. Like, it should be simple, as simple, if not easier, than quitting smoking.
Right.
And I get that it's all addictions. Food's an addiction, smoke's an addiction, drinking's an addiction. I mean, I was just telling Ashley this morning. I was on the phone with her because she's going to some thing with her friend this weekend, and we're talking about drinking and all that stuff. Just being safe while you're driving and all that stuff. Because she was worried about going down to Bloomington. And I'm like, it's Bloomington. Like, it's not Chicago. She's never been to Bloomington. She thought Bloomington was Chicago. And I was like, Bloomington is half the population of Naperville, for God's sakes. You're going to be okay. She was just worried because it was a college
Bloomington,
town.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was like, she was worried because it was a college town. And I'm like, first off, you're going to be 26 years old. You're going to be too old for college kids. So
Right.
Yeah. You're going to be fine. You're an adult now. But it's like, I was telling her, it's like, I probably drank probably 5 times in like the last year. And I never drank to the point where I got buzzed. It's like maybe like having 1 or 2. I bought a 6-pack of Red Bridge, which is a fantastic beer. It's made of sorghum or whatever it is. It's made by Anheuser-Busch.
All right.
I bought it Christmas Eve when I went and got my dad a bottle of bourbon for Christmas. I bought Christmas Day because I bought that and a bottle of bourbon for my dad. I still have all 6 in there just because I'm not a big drinker. I just won a cooler full of alcohol at a charity event a couple weekends ago. And I was excited. I was like, this is awesome. But I was like, I don't fucking drink. Like,
Right.
I mean, like, I can still have a drink from time to time. Like, it's all like gins and whiskeys and bourbons and stuff. And it's like it's even stuff I don't even drink. I like tequila. I like rum, and I didn't get either one of those in this cooler. But it's like I sat there and I think to myself as I'm sitting there breathing heavy at my desk, like God, that sucked. Like I rarely ever drink. I gave up smoking. Why is food not as easy?
Yeah. Because you got to eat it every day to live.
And I look at it like, and I keep going back to the whole thing. It's like if I love myself enough, I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
If I cared enough about myself to not hurt rolling out of bed or being able to put on socks without trying to like fling my leg. It's rough, man. And I can sit there, I can look at photos of myself from 2018 when I did the keto diet and I dropped this weight, and how I can look at pictures of myself when we 2018 when we went to that camping trip, us and Colin and all that, and I could watch
that was so long ago. Wow.
7 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
And I can look at 2020 when we did the Illinois cemetery vlogs, or 2022 when we went to Wisconsin or Indiana or Wisconsin, I can see the difference.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, I could hear the difference because I could still go back. Like we just got a comment on one of our Michigan videos, and they're talking about how it was hard to hear the intro because we're by a heavily populated road. And in my mind, I wanted to respond back to him like, "You think that's hard to hear? Wait till I'm walking around breathing." But then I'm just like, I was like, yeah, it's just how it is. But we'll work on being better and everything. But
yeah,
there's always this perception that I'm capable of doing it, but for some reason the will isn't there to do it, and that terrifies me more than anything. Because if I'm not willing to be better, then these possibilities of a heart attack, the possibilities of a stroke, all this stuff is a possibility, even though it's not a family history thing. Just because you don't have, heart attacks running in your family doesn't mean you're not going to have one.
Right.
And it's
that's like my my grandfather on my mom's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Had 2 massive heart attacks. The first one he survived. The second one unfortunately killed him.
Yeah.
And it was there was no history in the family on that side, especially his line. Now, granted, I think we don't actually know his dad at all, because he was adopted by my namesake, my great grandfather, who was not my biological great grandfather. Thanks, Skype, for that little thumbs up. I really think that makes sense with this sad story I'm telling. But yeah, when they had this first one, they were just kind of like, your veins are clear, your arteries are clear. There's no evidence of an electrical storm. Like, we have no idea what caused this. Now, granted, he was also a massive alcoholic for most of his life, so that's probably the source of it. I also, based on the pictures we found when he died, dude partied. So
He lived a life.
he wasn't just an alcoholic. But
I got you.
yeah, and I don't want to say any more than that because he was a good guy. I'm not going to speak ill of the dead if you're a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So, but
No,
yeah, anyway, random.
Yeah, it just it could happen. And the thing too is like I want to be able to, and I want to be around to watch, the nieces and nephews grow up and live their lives, and I at least two of them are old enough to kind of understand who I am. The other two are still young.
Yeah.
One of them obviously out in Indiana could, hardly see each other, but even that at the age is like, do they even really know? Like if I was like, here's if I was to die tomorrow, like how far down the family tree do people still remember?
Yeah.
Like I know at least two of them will probably wonder where Travis is at,
right,
and stuff. But it sucks because I do want to be a dad myself one day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, I'm turning 36. I'll be 36 in 2 months. And it's just like everyone says, like the older you get, the harder it is.
Yeah.
And I know there are people that I can sit there. We've done it. Like let's encourage each other. Let's motivate each other. Let's push through. And I always fall short of that. I know Mom. I know Ashley. I know they're all supportive. I know I got friends who are in the wrestling business, like, oh, come to the gym with us. And it's like, honestly, if I felt I could go to the gym and make the most of the gym, I'd probably go. But I know I'm going to get there. I'm going to get winded within 5 minutes. And these are professional wrestlers who they need to, clanging and banging. They need to, it's like I'm not going to sit there and hold them up, even though I know they're good-hearted people. And they're like, no, man, well, let's get you through your set first, and then we'll, it's like I can't stop their momentum just because they have to wait for me. But I keep saying it, I keep wanting to do it, and I think, I think like last night, especially talking with my friend and like laying there in bed, like I need to get up and take a leak right now. But I know if I do, my back's going to kill me.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, short periods of time, laying there for short periods of time, are more brutal than laying there for long periods of time.
Interesting.
So it's like, I'm just going to lay here and I'm just going to hopefully go to bed, and hopefully I wake up the next morning and I kind of figure out what I want to do. But I do know I need to change, and I think that kind of starts with changing the perception of self-love. And again, talking with my friend, I know there are people out there who have the same belief that they just they don't have the self-control they think they have, that everything is going to continuously like fall apart, it's going to continuously get worse and everything, that they just keep allowing themselves to get worse and worse and worse. And it's like I mentioned to her, it's like everyone has this. There's no one person with only one type of problem. When we talked about, I think it was I can't remember what we talked about. We talked about something a year or so ago, and then we had Clint come on the show and talk about how he had a similar issue, a similar situation. I remember talking about something I had problems with, work related, and Nubby saying like I used to work at places I had the same exact problem, and that's one of the reasons I love talking about stuff like this on our show, because, and like I told Macy, there's somebody who's gonna listen to this show and be like, I'm just like that. Like that's the exact same thing. Like I want to be better, but something's preventing me to be better. And the thing is, it's like when you get a person like who I believe I am, who I believe you are, who I believe Macy is, or Clint, anyone out there who sits there and thinks that like there's something preventing me from doing this, I think the problem is like you have more care and more love for the people around you than you do for yourself. That's why when people will sit there, and I'm not gonna, I don't want to group everyone into it. It's me But if anyone else feels the same way, hey, you're not alone. I can sit there and I can listen to anyone's problem. If they got a problem, I'll listen to it and talk you through it, do what I can to help you, give my inputs based on my experiences and stuff like that. But when it comes to my own stuff, it's just like, I'll figure it out later, or I'll worry about it later, or I'll keep it in and just let it go. I think talking with Clint is what kind of opened my eyes to understanding the acceptance of therapy. Having a different opinion of therapy, somebody to listen and talk to and stuff. And I think when it comes to me, I think it's not so much that I don't want to talk about my problems. I don't want to talk about my problems with people I'm close to, because in my mind it'd be judgmental. In my mind, it'd be like, if I was, and if Grandma's listening, I'm not saying I'm in some kind of way.
Right.
But if I was sit there and I was like, go to like my mom or Ashley, Carl, my dad, Sherry, whatever, and said to them, hell, even you, it said, for example, it said, it's like, I thought about ending my life last night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, never have. Just saying that now. Just, Grandma, don't need the phone call about it. But if I was to say that 6 months down from now, I get a call, I don't answer my phone because, maybe I'm playing a video game, I don't know it's phone, whatever, and I miss a couple phone calls. Somebody's going to assume I ended my own life.
Yeah.
Because at one point 6 months ago, I mentioned it. And maybe by then I'm better, maybe by then I'm different, but it's going to be one of the things where if I told my mom that and my mom all of a sudden starts calling me and I'm not answering, I mean, I've had this situation, not because of the end of life thing, but because they thought I just outright died. But I had Carl call me, Nick calling me, Mom calling me, and then eventually somebody showed up like, what are you doing? I'm like, sleeping. It's like, well, why are you sleeping? It's 3 PM. I'm like, I don't know, because I was up until 2 AM, and I woke up at 6 AM and had to get some stuff done, and I decided to lay down to take a nap, and my phone was on silent. It's like, but I can understand their worry because, again, I'm not in the best shape, and I could keel over and die. I mean, anyone could die in any second.
Yeah.
So it's like I can understand.
I don't want to share too much business on the internet, but we have an uncle who just had a stroke this week.
Yeah. I just found that out 2 days ago.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, like I just found out. Like nobody told me about that. Like my mom had to tell me about it because like she was talking about because I guess they had this big old I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a sibling chat for Grandma D.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's in this chain, and
but everyone is just my dad and his siblings and their spouses.
Yes, yeah.
It's nobody on the cousin level.
No. This is like the children of Grandma D.
Right. Yeah.
So she showed me like he's like this is what he's doing today. This is what he's doing today, and I was like what the hell are you even showing me?
Yeah.
And then she told me what happened. I'm like, hell if I know. But I mean, and I understand it because I mean, like, I get that Carl has this perception that I don't give a shit about things. When it comes to family, I care about everything. Yeah. That's the thing, But I get that sometimes my attitude perceives of like, listen, cool, that happens, everything. But yeah, I did not know about that. But also at the same time, I thought, well, maybe they just want to keep it private. Either way, like I wasn't hurt that I didn't know because again, it's their business. But I was kind of like, oh wow, I can't believe that. But that's the thing too, because he lived a pretty healthier life, especially over the course of the last few years. It seems like his life was a little bit healthier. I guess perception wise, it seemed a little bit healthier than 20 years ago when I first met him.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like there's a possibility, and I think I think subconsciously that's one of the reasons why I am so like, listen, we're all gonna eventually die one day. It's gonna happen out of nowhere. We don't know when it's gonna happen. So if I end up just having 2 Coney dogs, 2 Chicago dogs, and some jalapeno poppers, so be it.
Right.
What the hell? What does it matter? But hey, guess what? I'll justify it. That will be my dinner. I didn't have lunch. My breakfast was a couple eggs and some tea.
Yep.
I'm good. I just justified it because this big ass dinner is now going to be what my lunch and dinner would have been together. That's not how life works. Unfortunately,
Right.
that's not how life works. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest reason I want to talk about it and kind of mention out there. First off, yes, if you're out there and you feel the same way, you're not alone. Just know that, and know that you have the ability to overcome whatever you want to overcome, whether it's be finding a way to do it on your own or reaching out and finding help.
Yeah.
There's no shame in finding help. Like I said, I know for years I always thought to myself, and I feel bad about it because I sat there and said, like, I told Ashley that, and friends that, like, why piss away the money to tell some stranger your problems when you have friends and family to do it? I can understand. I've understood it for like the last month or so, but I understand now that sometimes it's hard to talk to family and friends about things because you don't want that judgmental perception that may come along.
For me, it's not even the judgmental, not just the judgmental perception. Like there's some stuff I can talk about with some people, right?
Yeah.
But like, I trying to think of who to use as an example. I can't. I'll just use my mom. I love my mom. She's my mom. I can't talk to my mom about the things that she did to me that are the reason that I'm in therapy. Because one of the reasons I'm in therapy is because she is not capable of maybe it's unfair to say that. Nothing in my life experience with my mother has indicated to me that she is capable of the self-reflection required to process and understand why I was so hurt by the things that happened.
Okay, so like, and just so I'm kind of understanding. So like, if you were to say, I didn't appreciate you doing this, and then her saying like, well, you're remembering it wrong.
Correct.
Or that's not real. Okay, I'm on board with you. And yes, and I think that's one of the things too. Like, if you were to go to a parent or maybe even like an older sibling or whatever. I mean, obviously, you're the older of your three siblings, so it may be a little bit different for you. But like, if it's like it's hard to go up to somebody's like growing up, you kind of messed me up. Well, how so? Like, well, you did this. This is like, oh, you're just thinking about it wrong, or it's like, oh, if you're still holding on to that, you need to learn to let go. But that's the thing, like, your past will dictate your future,
right?
Like
and it's not like I'm purposely holding on to it, right? Like
it's just always there.
As a child, you only have what your parents give you.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that like, they brought you into this world. They're supposed to give you safety and security. And that means mental and physical and spiritual safety. They're supposed to be the adults so that if you have an emotional problem, you can go to them, and they're supposed to be mature enough to be able to hold the space for you to have those emotions.
Yeah.
But and I think parents are getting better at this overall. I think even our parents, as they've gotten older, have gotten better at this.
Mm-hmm.
But they grew up with parents who understood that even less, right? Overall. And especially my mom. Like I told you, my mom's dad was an alcoholic. My mom's mom, got married and she was 19 when she married her husband. She was a baby. And even more so Grandma D, right? She was 16 when Grandpa got married to her at 26. And she talks about it all the time. She's like, I grew up with my kids. And so I think Grandma D has a better understanding. Grandma Phyllis grew up with 6 months of the year she was thrown in an orphanage because her dad was a fisherman and her mom died in childbirth. So she didn't have the tools to raise my mom with the right thing. And this is all stuff I've unpacked in therapy, right? So like at a certain point, if you can understand your parents better, you can forgive them for the stuff that they did. That doesn't necessarily mean you're over it, because you still have to deal with the wrecking ball of your own life. And so there were a lot of times growing up where like something would happen and instead of holding the space for me to process my own big emotions, my own big feelings, it would be, oh, why do you hate me so much? And it's like, well, I don't hate you. You brought me into this world.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to be here, at a certain point, you have to choose to be here, and you have to work on that, and that's fine. There's no problem. That's what therapy is for. But yeah, it's just it's nothing. Nothing was like. It's not like I had a bad childhood, right? It's not like things were tough sometimes. My home life was not always safe. And that there are effects of that. There are effects of that are, this week. There would be times growing up where if we didn't have the chores done to my stepfather's satisfaction, my mom would try to get home to make sure they were done to his satisfaction. Because if they weren't, he would scream at her. And so, so the house was unsafe for her. Home was unsafe for my mom. And so she would try to get home before him. And if things weren't done to that level of satisfaction, she would take that out on us because it was preemptively, she was sort of preempting her own screaming match. Yeah. Right. And so if she has it with us, then she doesn't have to have it with him. And I understand that, but also I was a child, and that's not cool to do to your kids. Yeah. And we know that now, right? Like that's, maybe you don't realize it in the moments. Maybe you don't really, maybe if you're a kid listening to the show, that's not normal. It's not cool. I don't know how to help you deal with that. You're going to be in therapy later in life, probably. And if you've been through that, I understand. I've been through that too, and it sucks, and it wasn't normal. And I hope you're in therapy dealing with that. I hope you've reached a point of a relationship with your parents where you can talk with them. My dad and I are cool. We've talked about all of the issues that he and I had. That's a thing. I am settled with dad. We're cool. Would love to see him more often. Would love to talk to him more often. I know he feels the same way about me. We're just both busy people. The Cats in the Cradle is our song for a reason. But yeah, so I get it. It's just there are some hurts that are just going to be with you forever because you can't tell the person who hurt you because they just don't understand.
Yeah. Side note, did you listen to Monsters by James Blunt?
Oh crap! No, I totally forgot. I even had it pulled up.
Yeah, make sure you listen to that. Make sure you listen to that when we're done recording. But you're right, and I think a lot of the tricky things too, like when growing up and like the interactions you have with your parents. I think obviously divorce does play a huge factor into it.
Sure,
because
it's an adverse childhood experience.
Yeah, well, it's wild when you think about it because it's like, okay, so your parents get divorced. You have your mom and your dad completely separated, split time between them. Your mom gets remarried to a guy. His dad. So now you have to figure out, how do I act when I'm around just my dad, just my mom, or my mom and my stepdad.
Yep.
And I had a similar situation. My parents were divorced. So being around my mom, and I don't know how long it was between your parents' divorce and your mom's remarriage, but for me it was 13 years.
Wow.
So my parents got divorced when I was 3. Mom and Carl got married when I was 14, so 11 years. So I had 11 years of being who I was with my mom, being who I was with my dad. And then when you put in that new dynamic of Carl being around, it's like, say, okay. And I think I was a little bit luckier because at 14 years old, you start becoming a teenager and being able to help my mom raise Ashley from when I was 10 up to 14. I already established that responsibility aspect of it. I mean, was I still kind of a turd? Yeah. Absolutely.
You're 14. Yeah. All 14-year-olds are turds. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. There was at least one day where, I'm going to say right now, I don't see your dad ever making any of his grandkids sit on a couch holding hands. I think dude softened up. And you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I think that happens. Like you said, they change, like parenting changes over time. They get a lot softer because when I see my father, who I love more than anything, and I love my family more than anything in this world, and my dad, my parents, top of that list. And I love my father. He was a hard ass when I was younger. I think I talked about it on the show. Like when we were young, like 5, 6 years old, he'd come in, kiss us on the cheek or kiss us on the forehead goodnight, and then that was it. And then right around 10 years old, that just stopped. And me and my dad didn't say I love you to each other until I think I was like 17 years old. It just, like we knew it, we just never said it until
Right.
one day he said it on the phone, and I thought he was dying. Like, like what the hell? It's like, but I think deep down, I don't think he would never admit it. But I think deep down, he just accidentally got so used to saying it with Sherry that it just happened.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I've had Sherry and Ashley say on the phone to me, like, okay, I gotta go. I'm like, I'll talk to you later. Okay, love you. I'm like, huh? Because again, we don't as I don't know if you and your siblings say it to each other. I really don't. I've never seen. Okay, see, we don't do that. We know. I mean, well, I know that I love Nick and I love Sherry and I love Ashley. I know they don't like each other. It is what it is. But I never say it to them. We just know it. Like in my family, we just never really said it. I said it to my mom. I've always kissed my mom goodbye and shit like that. I give Carl a hug. Carl says love you. I say love you back. With my dad, I'll say love you. When I'm leaving now. But growing up, it was so different. And I do want to talk about this because we're running a little bit longer. We're getting towards the end here. Our next episode, first off, I want to talk about parenting. I think that's an important thing. We kind of talk about growing up, like our experiences, and our blended family stuff.
Yeah. I totally forgot. I was trying to make a point. Oh. So mom would come home. There'd be these big screaming matches, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, you get up, you grow up, you're fine, you're whatever. For the first so Maddie and I will be married 10 years in July. Wow. For the first 5 years of our marriage, mm-hmm. I was still in school for a long time of it. For 3 to 4 years of our marriage, I was in school still. And when she would come home, if I didn't have the chores done, my fight or flight would react as though she was my mom coming home to scream at me. Really? Right? Okay. And so it took me 3 years to realize Maddie's not going to come home and scream at me if the chores aren't done. And every once in a while, so it actually happened this week. Every once in a while, I'm in my head about it's Monday, it's my day off. I really need to get some chores done. I need to clean some stuff up. But I'm tired and I just want to play video games. And so I did that last Monday, and I increasingly got more and more stressed out until when she got home, she didn't care. There was no problems. Yeah. But I was upset with myself because I didn't have one of the litter boxes cleaned that I'd wanted to clean for, honestly, a couple weeks. It's a little bit disgusting. Yeah, and it's just I reacted as though she was trying, she wanted to have a fight. Yeah. She had no interest in a fight. And she took the cats and she just took them in the bedroom and she was like, you clean up whatever you need to clean up. And when you're ready to be a person again, she's good at that. I love her for it. But yeah, I just, it's still something that affects me because the thing is for let's see, my folks, I think so. Mom and Jeff got married in 2005, but they had been dating since 2001 or 2002. Okay. And that dynamic existed from 2001 or 2002. And so from 2001 to 2009, when I moved out, so 8 years, I was taught that this is how people come home from work. They come home from work ready to fight about the house not being clean. Yeah. That's a hard thing to unlearn, even as an adult, especially as an adult. It's when you learn something like that as a kid, it gets set in your brain in a way that it takes a long time to change your brain about, because you have all these chemicals, this sort of chemical storm of I have to be able to survive this. I have to be ready to survive whatever this thing is happening, because my home is unsafe. Yeah. And so having to, it's taken me the better part of a decade to learn that my home is safe, and I'm still not always ready to accept it. That's one thing that therapy is good for.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, and I'm glad that especially the revamp of our shows and talking more like this, it helps me kind of learn about that stuff that I've always thought was kind of it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect. It makes perfect sense.
And it's tough. It's tough to go to your parent and say, hey, my home life was unsafe, because they're like, what do you mean it was unsafe? You had a bed to sleep in. You had food to eat. I paid all your bills, And it's like, yeah, you did all those things, but also you came home screaming and throwing shit at me.
Yeah. Well, it's and that's the thing. It's like there's always like you got me to where I am today, but it's the Oregon Trail.
Right. Yes.
You know, it's like I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna have a busted wheel. We're gonna have famine. Like there's gonna be
right. I didn't die of dysentery, but I had it.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I used to have 2 arms. You know, that's the thing. Like I got to the destination, but that journey wasn't easy. You know.
Yeah. And she won't make, if she ever hears this episode and she takes it personally, she won't make it this far. But I love my mom. I understand where she's coming from. Yeah. I think she was doing the best she could. I on most levels have forgiven her. But sometimes every once in a while that the scar is a scab and the wound bleeds, I do my best to work out of my scars, not my wounds, but
I will say this because next episode we will kind of talk about parenting or growing up and all that stuff. We'll dive into it as much as we're comfortable with diving into it. But for parents who are going to listen to this, listen, there were growing pains in life. Like were y'all perfect? No, but I'm thinking every parent going to say, "Hey, I'm not perfect."
Right.
I know as children we weren't perfect either.
I don't expect perfection.
I still go back to Bob and Carl's wedding day. Like that was probably the dumbest thing.
Once again, 14-year-olds are turds.
That was a dumb choice. Because here's the thing, and we can talk about that story next week too. But long story short, if we were to get in trouble, we would have ruined their wedding day, 100%. But yeah, were we the easiest kids? Probably not. But
I don't think we were the hardest either.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, like we didn't get arrested. We didn't get suspended. Like we didn't cause problems.
Right.
I think you and I got along really like well together, growing up and everything, because I think we're very similar in the sense of like we're here. Like this is we are here. Like we're not burning down buildings across the Midwest. We're not it's like we're very respectful to our parents. We treat our parents right. But because I think also, and again, I'm not speaking for your growing up on your end, but there's always a little bit of a fear factor.
Sure.
I think there's a benefits, but there's also I think there's benefits to the way we grew up. I think there's also some pitfalls and stuff that some things just could have been different. And I said, I want to talk about that next week, but I also want to talk about what you brought up about your great grandparent, in the orphanage and stuff from time to time. I want to talk about that next episode too, because I found out recently that my dad's parents, or at least his father's side, similar situation.
No way.
Yeah. So did I get a chance to tell you that I got some information about my dad's dad and mom from my aunt recently? Did I ever tell you about that?
You didn't tell me about it. I think you mentioned that you had that, but we didn't get into it.
Okay, we're going to talk about it in the next episode because I found out a whole lot about my family. And there was a moment where you said that you don't want to speak ill of somebody because you still love them because they weren't that bad of a guy. Cool. I'm going to talk about somebody on my side of the family who's a piece of shit. So it's going to be awesome. From the stories I've heard, sounds like an asshole. But I'm excited to talk about that next on our next episode. So we'll talk about families and shit. Also, there's somebody in our family. I think it's David's wife is a therapist or something.
Yeah, she's a psychologist.
God, I want to get her on this show. We need to talk about that. Right? Maybe it's because I want free therapy. I don't know. Joe, what we freaking thinking about that?
I feel complicated about doing it on both shows this week. I finally finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Is that the Viking? That's the Viking
one?
The
ancient Greeks. Ancient Greeks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I know it has a big boat in it.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 years ago I started playing it. Started it on my PlayStation 4, finished it on my PlayStation 5. And I think I put almost 200 hours into that game over the last 4 years, and really enjoyed it. Really sweet, meaningful ending, and I don't know that I'll ever play it again, other than the basic running around right now. I'm not ready to move on to the next game, so I am playing it and running around, but I don't know that I'll play the story again anytime soon.
Assassin's Creed 3 is still my all-time favorite one. The Revolutionary War one was really cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Native American tribe that your character was from.
Me either.
But that one was my favorite one. And it was also, I think, because it was limited. I think since then they've been adding a lot more like boat-based like missions and stuff like that. And I'm not a big fan of that stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I love Black Flag because I'm a huge fan of pirates.
Black Flag was awesome. Oh,
but the boat thing, I couldn't get into. But excuse me, I haven't played Assassin's Creed in God knows how long. But I do.
Yeah, I think it's like the only game I play, so it's kind of just. I'm working my way through. I've got Valhalla queued up.
There we go. That's the Viking one.
That's the Viking one.
The MLB The Show 25, I just got it. I've been playing that on and off. I love the new Road to the Show series where it's like you start your career and then you kind of go through Major League Baseball. And what they did different this year is previous years you went to what's called a combine where basically you test out your skills to see where you're going to be draft wise. Well, with this one, you actually start in like your senior year of high school, like on senior night. So you're actually playing like the state championship of high school level, and then you're going to the combine, and then you can actually be drafted. And if your draft pick isn't high enough for your liking, you can choose to go to college. And what they do is they kind of boost your points for like you missed 3 years. So you start at 18 years old. If you decide to go to college, you miss 3 years, you go off to college, and then you fight for like a college championship and all this stuff, and then you can get the potential to be drafted higher. So I've been playing that, and that
nice. Is that what you're freaking thinking about?
No. What I'm freaking thinking about is the self-love thing.
Gotcha.
More so the situation of me and the paper bin, the paper stack at work, and the realization is like, even though I said it in the show, and I talk about like I constantly say this, no. I'm gonna say it one more time, and I'm hoping this is gonna be the final time. Is I do need to work on being a better person for myself. I need to learn, and I want everyone. I hope if what I'm saying gets through to anyone who needs it to get through to them, I hope you guys learn to start loving yourselves and start realizing that the love that you have for people around you is the same love you need to start showing to yourself.
Yep.
You know, it is okay to be selfish.
Yeah. One of my friends just lost his mother. He's about 10 years older than us, so she would be at least 10 years older than that, right? Or 15, 20 years older than that. So it's not like it was an abnormal age to die at or anything. It's just it's sad, right? But she was apparently a pretty heavy drinker and a smoker and things. And so one of the things that he's brought to us is how especially as he's processing this grief, he's realizing how angry he gets at people he loves who are still here who don't take care of themselves. So like if you can't do it for you and you can't do it for the love you have for the people in your life, because it's just tough. It's tough to overcome inertia. Do it because of how angry they will be when you're gone. And I think that was a really helpful framing. I was like, that makes sense to me. I'm not really at a point where I'm doing a lot of drinking or smoking or anything, but like I am trying to get myself exercising again because my friend Shaw is going to be so mad if I die before him. And it's likely because he's like 5'6", 120 pounds wet, runs a marathon for fun, like every day. He's just a very fit dude. And I am not. So I'll either outlive him by 30 years or definitely die before him. There's no in between.
No, and that's what it is. Like, man, like, when you can find those people who can motivate you, that's value in your life,
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, and it just comes down to like, I can sit here and I can talk about how important everyone is in my life, but if I don't mention myself, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you want to sit there and you want to I want to be there for my nieces, I want to be there for my nephews, I want to be there for my siblings. I don't want my parents to have to bury a child and all that stuff. It's like, then you need to start saying like, I need to be able to start doing this. I need to be able to make sure that I'm capable of doing this. And again, it's if I'm able to quit smoking, and the last few weeks for some reason has been, when it came to work, it's been stressful. It's been a headache. When it came to, I'm refinancing my house again. I'm dealing with all this stuff. There are days where I'm like, I need to stop off and get gas, but I kind of want to buy a pack of smokes. Like these last 2 weeks have been harder than the last 10 months, just because like that was my go-to stress thing. Like if something was pissing me off, I went outside in the back porch and had a smoke. It's like I know I don't need it, and I've been doing well since then. And I think that's all I need to do is just have the same mindset of like, I don't need to eat Taco Bell or Wendy's or McDonald's, or as much as that stuff is great and it tastes good, I don't need to put it into my body because I dictate what goes into me, right?
Right.
That's why when, like when it comes to fasting, like I'm capable of doing fasting. Like I enjoy fasting. I'm thinking about doing a 100-hour fast, like just for the autophagy, because when I did that 72-hour one, it was really euphoric and amazing. And I see all these videos about like people doing 100-hour fasts and using autophagy to regenerate dead cells into new cells and all this other stuff. And it's like I kind of want to do it, and I know I'm capable of doing it. I know it's going to be hard, but everything that is worth doing is hard.
Right.
So I'm saying it again on March 22nd, 9:55 a.m. Central Time. Starting this coming week, on the 24th of March, I'm going to be doing DDP yoga. I'm going to be watching what I'm eating. I'm staying away from ordering food. I will continue to do it on payday Fridays, but I will be healthy about it. I have eaten the toasted subs from Jimmy John's. I don't need to eat them again. I've had the barbecue bacon burger from McDonald's. I don't need it again. Is there going to be something new and exciting comes out that I'm going to want to try? Yes. Am I going to eat it? Yes. Because the thing is, if I say no and I do it, I will fail. So the one thing that I hear all over whatever nutritionist or dietitian or weight loss journey, if anything that I take from the internet and bring it to my life is important, it is just because you have a cheat day doesn't mean you fail. Just because you slipped doesn't mean you failed. You just slipped.
Yeah.
So if something comes out where it's like, oh, try the new thing, I probably will. And I will allow that to be the cheat. And then that's it. Like it's not going to be a failure. It's like, well, I just screwed up, because it's okay. It's okay to stumble. That's what life is all about. We stumble, but we always got to pick ourselves back up. So to anyone out there who's listening, whether you're, a family member or a friend or just somebody who stumbled across this because the title of the show, just find yourself love. Find a way to just see you what other people see you as. If I sit there and say you're a good person and I'm rarely wrong, you should understand that you're a good person.
Word.
And if you sit there and you think that life is better without you, you're fucking wrong.
Amen.
I hate when people sit there and say like nobody likes me, nobody cares about me. I could vanish. I was like, that's not true.
Right.
There are people in this world that need you, and whether it may not be today, they may need you tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, even, you might not even know the impact you're making on someone's life. It may not be a friend or a family member. Like the guy, it's very silly, but it's like, it means something to me. The guy at Midas, who is always there when I drop my car off for an oil change, knows my name and recognizes me when I walk in. Yeah. And like, would he miss me if, the next time I need an oil change, I don't go to Midas? Probably not. But the idea that like, there's just this random dude who knows my name and recognizes me. Maybe he would notice. Maybe he would care. So you don't know who's like that in your life. If maybe there's somebody at the grocery store who, sees you when you go to buy your food. Maybe there's a DoorDash driver who brings food to you regularly because that's the only person in the area who works for DoorDash. You have no idea who in your life is going to miss you when you're gone. So don't make them do that. Yeah. Best of your ability, don't make them do that.
Yeah, well said. No, that's what it all comes down to. It's like, for those who aren't religious, it may not help you, but for those who believe in God and stuff, I do believe that we all have a plan. That we're all given a direction in life. And like I said, maybe the person that you're going to be the change for isn't here today, but it doesn't mean they're not going to show up tomorrow. So,
Yep.
Side note: always be kind.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to be kind to people.
Nope.
So,
Super easy.
So I'm going to be better for myself because I know that's going to be better for other people if I am. So, Joey, we're going to do DDP yoga together. We're going to motivate each other. We're going to make sure that we keep each other accountability and we have progress. That's what we do.
Sounds good.
For those of you who feel that you need accountability and you want a support system, if you go down to Facebook and you look up My Freakin Journey, it's a group that was created years ago. It was just for like people who have a hard time doing it alone that just need a support group. I want to start using that again. I want to start using that more. I encourage you guys, if you need a support group, just go to that. Share, say, hey, how you doing? My name's Kevin from wherever. My name's Mark from wherever. My name's Joni, whoever you are. Go to the group, join. We could do this together.
Absolutely.
We have the ability to do it. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Every week, our listeners can catch Cartoon Joe here on this freaking show. But if an hour of Cartoon Joe just isn't enough for our listeners, where can they go?
If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find me over at the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Blue Sky by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Guys, make sure you continue to follow us on social media. If you're listening to the audio podcast, do so wherever you pick them up, but just make sure you're subscribing there. Give us a rating and review if they ask for it. If you want to watch the video version of the podcast, you can do so over at YouTube. Freaknet Studios, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out our show and check out any of our other videos over there. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hey, guys, that's all I got. As always, I'm Travis.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.